Today we're at the Stimson Center in Washington, D.C. for a conference with Stimson and the Orfalea Center of University of California, Santa Barbara, confronting the challenges to global security posed by Daesh Islamic State. I'm joined by Dr. Risa Brooks from the Department of Political Science at Marquette University and a non-resident fellow with Trends. Thanks for joining us, Risa.
Yes.
The sort of one question I wanted to ask you coming up with your presentation, this idea, is Daesh ISIS an exceptional threat, or have we been here before?
I would say that it is definitely unusual, the Islamic State group, in its capabilities, and exceptional. It has taken advantage of some exceptional opportunities in the region and in the global setting. But I don't think it is intrinsically transformative in its character or something that we haven't seen before.
But I think it's interesting that you'll differentiate between unusual and unique opportunities. But as we've heard already from the event, and we hear quite a bit in the press and from the politicians, unfortunately, it is unique, it is exceptional, and we need unique and exceptional responses, which in themselves don't seem to be working either. So when you say it's unusual, I mean, how does that differentiate our responses?
So what I mean by unusual is, in terms of the sort of strategic leadership of the group, so the sort of acuity of Baghdadi and the way he's managed the group, the strategic adeptness of the group, the way that it's often underappreciated how much the leadership is anticipating and making decisions in response to what its adversaries are doing. I would say the sort of diversification of the organization is really unusual.
Right. Okay.
Those sorts of things. But qualitatively, I don't think that that's something different than other organizations. It's unusual in how capable they are, is how I would frame that.
And how would you see it just both from not just the USA response, but response of other countries, of the international responses? Do you feel they actually have a grasp on this unusualness? Do they understand what's going on, or are they sort of just poking around the dark, as it were?
No, I would say I've been alarmed at times at how little appreciation there really is of the strategic nature of the group and how they're anticipating some of the actions that they're going to take or anticipating the responses to those reactions, and not just using violence in this sort of egregious, brutal fashion, which we're distracted by. Right. And we need to think more about them as a strategic adversary.
Right. And isn't that the biggest problem? Because we see Daesh is on the decline, but that's usually tied purely to military objectives, and even that's highly questionable.
That's right.
To defeat Daesh, to remove this sort of threat to global security, we're looking at more than just a military response, aren't we?
That's right. We need to understand the political circumstances in which they're operating. We need to think about how to use non-military options and think creatively. Things like understanding potential divisions within the organization, thinking about how to exploit those, and to sort of think about the different types of activities, and most fundamentally, to not play into what they're trying to elicit from us, which is overreaction, which is reactions that are going to incite recruitment to the movement.
Do you think there are any key areas outside of the military response that we could focus on?
I think having a better integration between what is being done in the military response with the political objectives, with trying to get some kind of peace settlement in Syria, thinking about how to solve that puzzle in connection with military options, which primarily from the U.S. and coalition perspective, or the approach as I understand it, is primarily just about degrading and not really with a clear strategic purpose.
And one of the things we've been discussing quite a bit at this event is what's happening on the ground in society. Do you feel that have we addressed that adequately enough, or are we still ignoring that? Which is, I know, is one of the problems of past conflicts. We deal with the military, we don't deal with the other aspects.
It's fundamental, and I think we need to understand that more. ISIS isn't happening in a vacuum. It's happening in a particular moment in time in which around the world we're seeing massive social mobilization around identities. We see political instability in the region for a variety of factors, and those things are providing the foundation for the group to operate. And so we need to always bear that in mind.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much, Risa, for your time, and appreciate you coming to the conference.
Thank you. It was a wonderful conference.
Thanks.